So I'm gonna go ahead and get ahead of this before all the people with agenda are trying to get theirs out, especially the some of the black women talking about, black men don't protect us, the whole black men don't protect us agenda, the whole abuse on black women and all that other stuff. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, there's a clip on VH1 talking about marriage boot camp. Um, and to show them to preview the next episode, it was Vado, a rapper, choking Tahiri. And first thing, um, first things first, and I want to say this because it might seem like I'm just going one way and not the other. I fucking love Tahiri. I think Tahiri is a very beautiful woman. I always thought she was a beautiful woman. Ever since I first saw her, I was like, yo, this woman is gorgeous. This woman is beautiful. And I've heard her talk. I've liked the way she talks. She got a hustle. She's always had a hustle. It's like for someone that, you know, was known for being like Joe Budden's girl and all that other bullshit. And like she's done pulled out her lane for herself. She did some modeling, she does endorsements, she gets sponsored a lot. She was one of the people behind the flat tummy tea. She was one of the people, when she talked about being Afro Latina. Like I fucks with Tahiri heavily. I've never met her in person, but I did. But if I did meet her in person, I would probably melt because that woman is just beautiful and gorgeous to me. Now, with that being said, I've seen her on reality shows. I've seen her pop off. This is just like most Dominican women. They do have attitudes that it's just like violent in nature and popping off. And I know like black women say that, oh, y'all always like this shit. Me, I don't know, because to me, Dominican women and black women are one and the same to me. Like because like they both spot off with attitudes and all that other stuff. I know some people's like, when a Dominican do it, they find it sexy. I said no, no, because a lot of people. One thing is a lot of people have the limits, but I think the difference between Dominican women and black women, and I will say this: I said they know when to turn on the feminine charm. I will say this because you've seen it a lot. Like they have that crazy side, but they also turn on that feminine charm. That's just like they know when to be feminine. And I say this a lot, and a lot of black women will disagree with me, but I always see it. You don't know when to be feminine, or most women don't know how. But especially like you don't know, but most women they don't know. They don't know when to be feminine, or like they're turning on for retaliation purposes, not just for healing, but more or less for retaliation purposes. And that's usually getting someone else to go beat up that dude. Now, I also want to reiterate, I don't like seeing men putting their hands on women, but be also mindful, I don't want anybody to put their hands on anybody. And this is the one thing I want to say is abuse goes both ways. Okay, now anybody's watching this that's probably never heard of, wasn't even watching like marriage boot camp, because she's not married to Vado. They're dating. So that's one thing. But you know how these reality TV shows, you ain't even got to be dating no more. It's just because that's called marriage boot camp, but it's not even married. So let's get that one thing out of the way. They're not married. They're dating. Second of all, and I think this was really fucking dishonest. There's no context behind that. It's just like, oh, it's just you're just seeing Vado just choking the fuck out of Tahiri and shit. And I feel like, and then you get the, oh, there's a bunch of black women there, no bunch of black men there, and no one helped. And I don't, and then you realize, well, this one dude, one of the dudes, his her black, like, okay, if you look at the whole scene, because the only person, like, because there's other people there, and the only person that reacted was the one doctor and Dr. Is, and everybody's like, oh, black man. It's like, yo, first of all, some of y'all, a lot of y'all would have done the same shit. Especially if they've been in the house and they probably know why the fuck, and they probably know why the fuck you reacted. And he did that shit quickly. That shit was unexpected. So I guess it's like wherever all them niggas' reaction time is, I guess that's their reaction time. I'm going off reaction time. Vada was real quick. Now the doctor, the male doctor, I think his name is Doctor Ish or some shit like that. He was the one that broke him up and all that other stuff. So when they say, oh, all them black men, I said someone did. All right, but that shit was but that shit was so quick. A lot of people didn't even calculate that shit in the head until it was over. And I've seen that happen. I've seen interested not with men and women, but there was this one dude. Okay, I fucking there was one time in school, right? I came in and this one skinny. Let's say there was one skinny dude, was one buff dude, right? I go in and I see them dap each other up, right? And then I fucking sit down, and when I turn around, the buff dude is dry. It's just pick the skinny dude up and put him to the wall, and it was just like, and I turned around, I go, the fuck? And it was like I'm not gonna lie, that day my reaction time was slow, and it's just like he didn't punch him or nothing, but we had to get him off him. But it was just like I even asked, yo, how the fuck y'all was just dapping each other up? How the fuck did you end up dragging him all the way to the damn wall? And he was like, well, this buff dude had his hat, and he a Marine, so some shit's just like when Marines just like some shit you do, they're like I don't think he has fucking not ADHD or fucking I forgot what that term called. When oh shit, it's gonna come back in my head. But um, so like how like Marines, you got to be careful, especially when they like done seen some shit and they done seen people die. Like you got to be like real careful with them. And then some things you just take as disrespect. Some people just like whatever their disrespectful level is, they'll just snap and like just go off on people. So you don't know when it's going to happen. So all of a sudden you could be. So what happened was like they dapped each other up and do them two like the context was okay, they freestyle battle, right? And the buff dude, he was freestyling off the top of his head and all that other stuff. The skinny dude, he stole verses from Hitman Holla, and the only person that spot that was me because I watched battle rap, and I was like, "Nigga, this is Hitman Holla. What the fuck?" So, and he was calling him John, and his name's not even John. I'm not gonna give him his real name, but I was like, "Nigga, this is Hitman Holla." So I told old boy, and he's like, so he said the next time we freestyle battle, and he told the skinny dude, next time we freestyle battle, you better not steal from other stuff. He said, man, go ahead. And then he flipped his hat. And then next thing you know, that nigga was to the wall. That's what they told me. And I was like, well, you don't really disrespect people like that. That's why I tell people to keep your hands to yourself and shit. So either they was right or wrong. But anyway, back to Hiri and Vado. The one thing I think it was real dishonest because I guess they want a lot of female audiences, and then I guess people want them to talk about their show because I don't know what the ratings are like. But some people see it through it. Some people think it's scripted. I don't think I don't think it was scripted. But Vado, first things first, Vado it makes Vado look bad, and then um it makes him look even worse because you see his Instagram. I think it was his Instagram or Twitter. It was like no one got hit, and then you got Tahiri, and oh my God, Tahiri, she knows how to. When I tell you the difference between men and women know how to sell their pain. Men do not. We do not know how to fucking sell their pain, man. So you got Vado talking about man, no one got hit. To Tahiri is just like man, as a victim of abuse before, this is not scripted. I wouldn't even do stuff like this. What you saw was all real and all that other stuff. And I was like, oh man, like she sold that perfect. I mean, mwah. It's just like that, and that's what I mean. Like she turned on that feminine charm, and you know how like domestic violence is a really big thing and shit. So it's just, oh man, it fucking like just instantly. Like you seen that feminine child, like she got to this vulnerable feminine thing, and I think Megan Thee Stallion did it too. Now, like, but we not on Megan, because I already like did a podcast on there. I just think, but because yeah, we're not on Megan. But anyway, now if you don't watch the show or some of the clips, and people are showing this, like, and this is where I say abuse goes both ways because if you really watch the show, and I saw the previews of the show, Tahiri was kind of digging at him. Now, the thing about Vado is he used to be a rapper. He used to be with Cameron and all that other shit. And he was an up and coming rapper with so much promise. But I think, fucking record label deals and shit like that kind of like fucked him over. Like how most of these fucking rappers, like they're good. But, sometimes it's not even their talent that doesn't fuck them over, but their record labels and what fucked them over. So he's not as big. Only people that know Vado is like people that's really into hip hop, especially like up north niggas, like up north New York niggas. Like I know who Vado is, obviously, because I've seen him, and like Vado can rap and all that other stuff. But like I guess in that relationship, Tahiri does make the most money. Like I said, she got a bunch of hustles. She got a bunch of couple endorsements. I think she even got a book. And like she does her thing. Like Tahiri does her thing. She's making her money. She's making stable money. So and and this points out to another thing how like men like we can't like there's a lot of reasons why men uh don't want to make less than their women because if she's the because not only like the women is going to make more money in it, but she's going to throw it in their face every fucking time. Now, a man, if especially if a man's job is to protect her vibe, we're not going to throw it in her face unless you trying to get smart with her. But men just sort of talk about I do pay the hell, pay the house and pay like they'll still at least respect him, but it's like women they do it and they do it out of spite, and it's just like it's very spite. And this is just my personal opinion. Y'all can disagree with me on the one. It's very spiteful when they do it, and that's why like 21 Savage had that quote about like a man could take a woman and make her like into something, but a woman you won't see a woman do that to a broke nigga, and a woman won't. This is like that's their money, and then like they're not going to try to take care of you and all that other stuff. But a man will take care of a broke woman. Like sometimes we don't even care like what you do. If you good and if we vibe good and all that other stuff. Like women a lot of women when they like date, they have to have their same type of job description or higher. You don't really see that many um relationships where a woman makes more than a man and you're like they're good. It's like there's some reason she's throwing jazz at her. Nigga, I pay all the bills and all that other shit. I know. And then like people get like women get that way. It's just like and then and this is another thing I feel like we don't talk about, and this is why I'm saying abuse goes both ways. Like there's a video out there, and they put it on YouTube of her, and I'm gonna use this as my thumbnail too, of her beaming a fucking apple at Vado's head. No, I know which one. It's a fucking apple. First of all, y'all have never been hit by a fucking apple before. This shit is hurt. I have. I've been hit with an apple before. They fucking hurt. They're solid. They're really solid. And she beating it like a fucking Dominican baseball player. And it's not like she like tossed it at him. She literally aimed at his head, and that shit like a fucking apple hurts. Like, and this is another thing because a lot of people say you supposed to, men are stronger than women. And just like you should be able, like, no, don't. And this is why I tell people, no, don't be putting your hands on a fucking man because you don't know his limit. If you don't know his limit, you don't need to be putting your hands on your man's. Because some people like Whoopi, as Whoopi Goldberg said, chivalry is not what it used to be. All right, and even then, in this time of era, I still feel like it takes a lot for a man to hit a woman before he goes upside your head. And I think a lot of women be trying niggas, especially. And this is the shit that people like to overlap or like when dudes talk about it, niggas be like so, and that's not fair because a lot of women just be just hitting niggas for no reason, or hitting the and then like the two fingers in their face and be like putting their hands on niggas and all that other shit. And I be looking at some dudes, they look like it's like you could tell like with some dudes they got into fights for less, like a bump. Like you bump them and you bump them disrespectfully, like it's going at it. Like niggas got into fights for less. Let's be real, like with each other. Like that's why I think that's why men understand. It's like like this the disrespect. You disrespecting. Oh, you gonna have to catch this fade. A lot of you women and a lot of and I've got into arguments about this too, because a lot of women said, "Why does it seem like y'all want to hit women when you talk about equality? Y'all go to strict." And I tell women all the time, it's because of your fucking mouths. It's because of the disrespect that y'all give toward these men. Like some of the shit y'all be saying to men be so fucking disrespectful that if y'all was men, he'd have been fucking run across your jaw. And I told women all this time, the shit y'all be, I've heard women say to men, like if a man said half of that shit, he they'd have been fighting. Or than that, somebody would have been shot. The some of the shit that, especially you calling him a fuck nigga or a fuck boy and all that other shit, it's just like, yo, if you, and I've told women, yo, if you was a dude, you'd have gone across your fucking jaw. Like, so some dudes do not have that type of chivalry. It's like, but some dudes do, and she threw like, and like I said, she threw two, not one, but two apples at him. It's like green apples. I don't know, but them shits as hard as fuck. All right, and she threw it at his head. You can concuss somebody with a fucking apple if you really could. And like, and she did not fucking, and she threw that shit with a whole bunch of force. So one thing I just want people to understand, like abuse goes both ways, and then I feel like all that was built up to that choke. And then like if you keep digging at the man and you digging at his manhood, and a lot of people, and this is why like one thing a man does protect is his manhood, and this is why women don't understand. Like your womanhood is precious, but our manhood is just as precious. It's just like, especially like when I feel like you're gonna disrespect me as a man, especially when he's trying to do what he got to do. He like that shit is just fucking. It's exhausting, and then like you don't if you don't. That's why like sometimes men we do want that encouragement from women that we're doing something, and I feel like if we're not getting that and if someone else is giving it to us, they'll probably more or less at least go to that person. I think that's one of the reasons why most men cheat, because like you're not, because I feel like in a marriage you got to fuel each other. Like you have to fuel each other. It's just like, this is why I tell people, like, learn when to be a head coach and learn when to be a cheerleader. Like if you see him doing good, yo, congratulate him, pat him on the back, give him something as a reward. It's like, you're doing good, baby, I'm glad to see you doing good. Like, hey man, you've been consistent, so I want to thank you. You know, you've been holding the house down, you've been like being a good father. A lot of these things you don't get that, but you know, the women, you need recognition for everything. If you pay a bill, if you're a single mother, if you're, you know, you clean the house up and you got two jobs and you working and all that other stuff. It's like we gotta congratulate you for every fucking thing and all that stuff. Men don't really get that same type of recognition for doing good shit. Sometimes when we do shit, everybody hit them with the "that's what you're supposed to do," and a lot of men it's just like, damn. So it's like I don't even get the recognition. That's why like people look at Father's Day like, that's probably why Boozy be looking at Father's Day like fuck Father's Day. That's why most anything like regarding men is just like, all right, good job, get back to work. But it's like one time a man do like to be appreciated for what he does. And I feel like a lot of that's why I think a lot of men do cheat, because a lot their women don't appreciate what he does, and then like he's probably getting this appreciation from another chick that is just like, I see what you're doing out there. You know, he might just start fucking with her. That's one of the reasons. I know a lot of people say ego. I feel like sometimes it's even deeper than that. It's just like, yo, it's maybe I just want to be like looked at as like someone that's doing the right thing and some shit like that. It's just like, all right. And so, you know, my advice for that is always like learn when to be a cheerleader and learn when to be a head coach. Because when you're a cheerleader and he's doing good, like show him your appreciation. Show him your appreciation. Do what you let him know that he's doing the right thing and keep it going. Now, when he's fucking up, that's when you bring him in and it's like, baby, I know I love you, but you're doing so. You fucking up here and all that other stuff. I know you could do better, and I've seen you do better. Just need you to get back on your horse and ride. See, the thing about a head coach is like, I know some people ride them hard, but some people like they know when to ride them hard. It's just like some people is just like, hey, you losing focus. It's more or less of you could be real with them. It's like, hey, you losing focus, you dropping your guard, and all the other stuff. You just need to don't drop your guard so much. That way you won't get hit. Or hey, I see it. Like I see you go through some shit. You want to talk about it, or like, hey, don't do this. Like I can see you like doing this spending money and it's really not going nowhere. Just don't. Let's not try to like put all of this. Is obviously it's not going somewhere. Put your money in somewhere else or some shit like that. Where most people is just like, hey yo, you fuck nigga, you over there wasting your money and all that shit. You ain't shit. You ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. That's why you're dumbass. And like, there's a lot of people like who feel like that's how most I've seen most relationships how they berate them. And you think niggas want to hear all that? No, a lot of niggas ain't want to hear all that. Now, I understand. Like I don't know their his. Like I don't know much about the relationship, but I have seen Tahiri dig at him, and this is coming from a man that loves Tahiri. I seen her dig at him. I seen him dig at him. It was like obviously, if you really look at that, they're really toxic for each other. And like it's like Vado don't open up. I can see why Vado don't open up. I was like, dude, I can understand why Vado don't open up. I feel like because she said some shit like she was like, I pay all the bills and all that other shit. I was like, well, that's why he don't fucking open up. There you go, right there. Just now, a lot of women. I look. I don't want. I don't like me personally. I don't like seeing women get hit. I really don't. Except for the bus driver uppercut. Bus driver uppercut will always put a smile on my face. You going to jail now? Like I watch that shit. Like I always watch that shit. This is, but I have context to why that one. That one at least you have context of what happened with that one. But other than that, I don't like seeing men putting their hands on women. It's just like, but I understand. But there's stories where I've heard about like the men when they did hit the women, they asked them why. I'd be like, yeah, I can understand. I can understand it. That's why people tell you context matter because I feel like if they'd have showed Tahiri beaming an apple at fucking Vado, and they would probably looked at it different. It's just like, or if you seen Tahiri just keep digging at him with these fucking um under your breath digs and shit, which also men don't like that shit. I know me, I don't like that shit. Yo, you be like niggas be saying some like you be saying some shit under your breath and be like, you ever look at them? Women be saying it. I know men have done this. It's like you hear women saying some shit under their breath and you look at them and say, what the fuck you say? He's like, yo, watch your fucking like niggas do that. I've done it to like I've heard dudes like one at a time when I first got into the Navy is like some dude was saying some shit under his breath and I heard him and I told him and like I stepped to him. Like that shit is like I don't like it. Like I know me personally, I don't like that shit. It's like, yo, you got something to say, you say that shit out loud, my nigga. It's I'm not a fighter, but that shit like some shit like like some shit right there, it'll just like I don't know. I just don't take it, and I feel like as even men, we got our limits to take. It. It's like yo, like we can fucking like we can clown around, but when it comes to like something that I feel like you disrespected me, nah, don't do it. And we're warned, and it's not like some niggas just like immediately go off. Some niggas like yo, I'm not. I warned you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. It's like didn't I tell you? It's like it gets to that point, and we do, and I understand women's like, oh, men don't communicate. Sometimes we do communicate, but I feel like y'all don't care, or even when we give y'all warnings, y'all don't really take the warning seriously because society says we shouldn't hit your woman. And I be honest, like it's like I said, I don't want to hit one, but if I hear some context, it's like you digging at him or you like berating him all the fucking time, and you get to a point where you're putting your hands on. Because I know a couple of people is just like they telling me how their ex girlfriends like putting their hands on them or some shit and like that. And I'm not gonna lie, I said it a couple of times. I'm surprised you ain't go upside that bitch head. I'm glad you didn't. And I always say, I'm glad you didn't, but I'm surprised you didn't go upside the bitch head. And they say all this, dog, I don't want, I don't like hitting women. I don't want to hit women and all that. And I tell them, I understand, and I'm glad you didn't. But I'm also surprised you didn't because some dudes is just like they can't take enough and all that other shit, and they'll even then like I've seen dudes like they'll try to walk away, and their girlfriend will follow him, and then he's like, "Yo, I'm just like." let him get his piece and all that stuff, and you want to chase after him, and they'll do some shit like they'll grab you and they'll shake the shit out of you, or they'll slam you in the wall. That's usually a warning, and then a lot of women don't really take that as a warning, and then they try to, and then that's when he knocks them out. I've seen like niggas give like physical men we give like physical warnings, like hey, like especially like a hey, stop. Like when we got to like put some force into it, it's like, oh my bad, I didn't mean to. And then it's just like back up off, right? Back up off, let them breathe, give them some time, that stuff. Let them calm down. Sometimes you don't really men. When they say I just need to take a walk, let them take a walk. Take a walk. You'll calm down. We'll talk about it and all that other shit. And sometimes, like, y'all want to talk to men at the height of their anger. I can understand them calming down, but usually I tell people, yo, just let them take a walk. Hey, it's like when you see a man, he's like, I just need to take a walk. Let him take a walk. He was like, don't follow him. Just let him take a walk. We'll be back. So, in conclusion, because I ain't expect this to go this far, abuse goes both ways, and um, if you're really if and this is usually an advice I can understand like some people sticking through relationships and all that other stuff if you really 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 fucking love them, but if your relationship is too toxic for both of y'all where you feel like if you every time you see her you want to put hands on because I do understand like some people do put their hands on each other and then they like make up and all that other stuff. It's like I've seen it happen, but if there's a point where every day you are arguing something toxic and something little gets, and then now you looking at her, you don't even see the girl you like anymore or the man you love anymore. You need to relieve. You need to leave that relationship because there's nothing you can do to save it. Because it's just like after that, it's just toxic. And then it's just like obviously she is not the person I fell in love with. He is not the person like the woman fell in love with, and all of this stuff. You're straight and a stranger in your house. Took a while to figure out. Just leave. Just leave. And I tell people that just leave the relationship because then it's not savable, and y'all better off with someone else. So abuse goes both ways, and um but we really need to talk about abuse that the women be putting on men because I feel like that don't get talked about. Now, I understand, but like I said, are black women unprotected? Yeah. But let's just be like some like but if you I one of the dudes is just like, play stupid games and win stupid prizes. If you like if that's the type of nigga you like, if y'all like them street thug niggas that don't like opening up and all that other shit, and the nigga go upside your head, I feel like you get what you deserve. It's like even though I don't want you hitting it, but just like you know what the fuck you're getting into when you get into an abusive relationship or some shit. So that's how I see it. It's just like find your happiness, find your happy place, find your happiness and all that stuff. Abuse works on both ends. Till then, my name's Mosquito Fly and I'm out. Peace.